Well, hey, I've been gone for a while, about a year and a half to be exact. We're going to get into all of that and why it's also listed up in the title. But before I do that, I do just want to say, if you were one of the 2.5, I think, thousand people that watched my original Hunger Games video that I published in November of 2023, I do just want to say thank you. I really did appreciate that as it was happening. I have the Catching Fire one written and I'm recording it in 2 days. A lot of things went down and I'm about to get into all of that. But first I want to offer you a peace offering in the form of my first initial reactions to reading Sunrise on the Reaping the day it came out. There will be spoilers ahead.
Page 6 pages in, already ruined my life. Oh, gay? Gay. It's gay in here. Page 13, it gets gay. Not really gay, but it's like a remove character.
I do hope that eased the sting and that you can find it within your heart to forgive me. The videos that I was going to make are now lost in what I would just call a prolonged period of becoming not me. There were a lot of little things going on, but the main thing, and what I'm going to spend most of my time today talking to you about, is the fact that in November of 2023, right before I got that video uploaded, I got the Nexplanon implant and lost my mind. I think when I filmed my Hunger Games video, it was actually the end of October, but I had editing issues with my solid state drive, and so it didn't get put out until after I already had the implant inserted, which makes a lot of sense considering how as soon as I got it inserted, I lost all motivation to do anything and be anyone and wanted to be maybe a little bit not here at times. But we're going to get into all of that. All right, so it is November of 2023, Thanksgiving to be exact. I have gotten through all of my export issues. I have put the Hunger Games video up. I have closed my laptop, and I have gone to my Thanksgiving dinner with a very large bruise under my right arm. A couple days later, I went to look at that video, and there were views. Like a respectable amount of views for a channel with 20 subscribers on a video that was over an hour and a half long. I will take 2.5 thousand views. I will take that any day. Much more than what I already had. When I look back on that now, it almost makes me sad because I know that I should have been really excited about that. And I should have been like, oh my God, I'm going to keep going and see if I can get more views and see if I can build upon this. But I just didn't. I kept beating myself up about it. I felt like I was wrong or crazy, and I didn't know where my motivation had gone. I've been wanting to do something like this for so long. Why was I not capitalizing on this opportunity? Why didn't I want what I always wanted? I did want to keep going, and I spent time, again, Catching Fire video, completely written, recording it in 2 days, not changing the script at all. It was just like, no matter what, I could not muster the motivation to see any of it through. And yes, I was in a brand spanking new relationship, and it was taking up some of my time, but trust me, I was being fit in wherever his schedule allowed. I had plenty of time to be working on a video. And I was just sitting there with myself like, what is going on? Why am I so unmotivated? Why don't I want to do this right now? Why do I feel like it's impossible for me to explain myself well? The first thing I want to say and make crystal clear before we go any further is that this is in no way an anti-birth control video. I think everyone should have access to birth control. So do not mistake this for a crunchy video where I'm saying all hormonal birth control is bad. I think it's great. I think that different strokes are for different folks. I have a close friend who has the implant, has had it for years and years, never had a single issue with it, and loves it. I wanted to gouge my eyes out of my skull, but that's not everybody's journey. I want to start off just by explaining what Nexplanon is. If you're just coming across this and you don't know, or you're thinking about getting it and you want more information. I, however, am not a doctor, so I am talking about how I felt about it and my knowledge of it, and you should go talk to a doctor, and I hope that you get to talk to a doctor that's better than the one that I talked to when they put it in me. So Nexplanon is a small little plastic rod about this big. It goes under the skin in your non-dominant arm. For me, that's my right one because I'm left-handed and quirky and different. It just stays under there. It's a set it and forget it kind of birth control. And it's also, I believe, still the most effective one available. It is 99% effective. And that is the major draw that it has. It is a progesterone-only birth control, which will become my downfall as we go through this story. But at the time, I did not know that that would be what would happen to me. The other really good thing about Nexplanon is that it only needs to be changed every 3 years. I feel like some places are saying 5, but I'm going to go with 3. Because even when I got it taken out, that doctor was still telling me 3, and I think at this point I would trust her with my life because she kind of saved mine. There's going to be a lot of period talk in here. I didn't say that because I thought it might be self-explanatory, but I'm realizing I maybe should have said that. I'm going to talk about period shit a lot. I know I mentioned progesterone. So, estrogen and progesterone are the 2 hormones that are used in most women's birth control in different ratios for different kinds. Nexplanon is progesterone only, which means that there's no estrogen. Bad for me. Bad, bad, bad. No one told me that, though, but it sure was bad. The thing about birth control is that, much like an antidepressant, there are so many different formulas, and you do not really know what's going to work for you until you try them. Something that I would like you to know about me, for the purposes of this video, not just because I feel like sharing, because God knows I've shared it in the past and did poorly. I gotta stop. I can't be making comments like that. Somebody's gonna text me. I don't want a man texting me. Well, I would like a man to text me, maybe. In theory, yes. In practice, I would need it to be very specific because I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. 1 in 10 women have this. Want to just go ahead and say, right off the bat, if you have PCOS, that does not mean you cannot have children. Don't let anyone try to tell you that. Don't let anyone try to tell you that. It's not true. And that's all I'm going to say about that for now. PCOS stands for polycystic ovary syndrome. And essentially what that means is that you kind of have small little cysts that can appear around the perimeter. I think it's the perimeter. I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me. Of your ovaries. And also it affects your hormones a lot. I just really emphasize the hormones on accident. Your hormones. That was normal. I was just diagnosed through blood work when I was 17 and put on a birth control that had a higher amount of estrogen. Doesn't it seem like estrogen would be really important for me to have more of? Wouldn't it seem that way? Don't you think? When I was put on the pill, loved the pill. Loved the pill. Did wonders for me. My face cleared up so quickly. I lost some weight. I know that's not normal for everyone, but again, I needed the estrogen. So I know what you're thinking. Okay, you loved the pill. Why would you get off of the pill and choose a different method? Well, to be frank, I am a person who gets very paranoid about getting pregnant. I'll say got. I don't think it's still as much of an issue for me anymore. I think I've grown. But I had been single for 3 years before I started my last relationship, and I knew that in the relationship I had been in before that one, I was constantly paranoid about getting pregnant. I will blame this on some good old South Carolina sex education, where it's just like, don't have sex or something terrible will happen. I was always really worried that I would get pregnant and it would derail my entire life before I was ready for that to happen, even though it was pretty much impossible. But the fact that the pill, with perfect use, was only 96% effective would bounce around in my school like a pinball. I started calling around to different gynecologists in the Atlanta area. At the time, I was like, oh, this is like fate that this is happening, blah, 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 blah. No. This is the beginning of my downfall, is what this is. I needed to go in for like a yearly anyway, so I made an appointment and I went, and I'm going to try to talk about this in the least TMI way possible. When she was doing my exam, she rocked my shit in the least pleasant way possible. I like bled, and that's not normal. That never happened to me before. I was like, I felt it for the rest of the day. And that probably should have been a sign for me. It hurts so bad. It's basically what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it hurt really fucking bad. But I did that, and I talked to her about how I kind of wanted that, and she was like, yeah, sure, come back in a week. We'll do it. Okay. I did have to fill out forms when I went, where I had to put like my medical conditions and like verbally confirmed I had like PCOS. Like, I do want to just be clear, as we're in the beginning of the story, like this doctor was aware that I had PCOS. The insertion itself wasn't terrible. Basically like a big piercing gun like at a Claire's, and it just shoots it into your arm, but it bruises really bad. And I had this huge purple bruise. But again, it was like virtually painless. I went straight to work after I had it done, and I went about my life. And then I had it for a little bit. I would say it took 3 or 4 weeks for me to start to feel different. I don't think I can pinpoint for you the exact moment it started to feel weird. I started spotting about 3 or 4 weeks in. They kind of tell you that's definitely 100% gonna happen. They also say that everything should resolve itself within about 3 months. 3 to 6 months, I should say. I do remember talking on the phone with someone about how I felt like really hungry. I just wanted to eat everything. But I don't recall feeling like a mental fogginess at that point in time. And the fact that I am recalling a specific conversation that I had makes me think very much that I was still pretty sharp up here while that was going on. I had read many a story online about how it had been terrible for people and they had had a horrible experience. And I legitimately was like, I'm not going to get in that headspace. I am going to be fine, because I was being stupid, in denial that anything bad could happen. And that was really stupid. And I should have paid attention. And I didn't. I was determined to push through.
First 6 months were categorically not great. But I was aware that that would probably happen, so I was really determined to just make it through. It's a little difficult for me to parse through all of the information I have from this time and determine exactly what was implant related. I don't really know. What I do know is that the implant 100% made me irritable and on edge. I was so much more anxious than normal, and I would be just like crying to no one, at no one, about nothing in particular, just a general feeling of doom in the bathroom at work, just for no reason, and everything just felt really colossal to me. I also was spotting constantly for the entirety of these 6 months. It never stopped. Like, I had no real control over anything. And this was just the beginning of feeling like I had no control. That feeling will get much, much worse. When I look back at that time period, I also have a sense of frustration and feeling like I could not explain myself well. I don't really think this is because of the Nexplanon. The only reason I say that and I'm iffy on it is because I did experience really intense brain fog near the end of this whole process. That was almost debilitating, but I don't think that's what was happening. I think that there was an issue with understanding the emotions of others happening around me, because I was not the only person who was having to do a lot of explaining at this point in time. I don't want to make this about that. It is just so intrinsically tied to the first 6 months of this that it's hard to not mention it at all. Okay. We're gonna talk about weight a little bit in this, not any kind of like judgment of anyone else's weight. This is about me and the way I saw myself physically changing and how it felt like it was something I had no control over. And that is my main issue with it, is that I could not control what was happening to my body. And that is a terrible thing to experience. I felt like shit and I was in pain a lot of the time, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. That's why I'm talking about this. Before I got the implant, I weighed an amount, and then once I had it in and a couple months had passed, I had gained 5 pounds, which is like nothing. My bloating and digestive issues were so terrible that I just felt so incredibly different that it felt like a much bigger deal than it was, because I just didn't feel like myself, and everything was fitting me different because my like weight distribution even changed. It really was like a complete body overhaul, because it tricks your body into thinking you're pregnant, right? That honestly was the part that I remember maybe the most from that time period. Just because, oh God. All right. I'm about to say something I don't think I ever even said to my friends. While I was in my relationship, nothing was ever explicitly said to me, and I want to be clear. Again, I want to be so clear. I do not think there was any malicious intent behind this. He had very much a case of foot and mouth-itis. There was a time where, oh God, I don't want to say this out loud maybe. I don't know. Oh fuck. I don't know. I don't know. Why am I worried about if he's gonna be upset that I say this? He said it to me. There was a time where he like poked my lower stomach and was like, you have a bump there, and I need you to understand that I was well aware that that had happened, and that's what I meant by my weight distribution changed a ton. And I want you to know that really did a number on me. I told him that had hurt my feelings, and he did apologize. I do not think he meant anything malicious. Being overly fair and protecting the honor of a man who genuinely probably could not care if you lived or died is like peak girlhood. So that's what's happening right now. All of this to say, I was thinking about it a lot. I was aware of it. I knew. Hey, I knew. I certainly didn't need someone else to tell me. I knew, especially when I was wearing jeans. Oh my God. The way that my ability to wear jeans changed, I could have screamed and cried and cursed. And I probably did. I just don't remember that I did. All right, it's May of 2024. 6 months has passed. My relationship has ended. My Letterboxd account is overflowing because I cannot be left alone with my thoughts. And the implant symptoms have become very mild. I have stopped spotting. I definitely was still dealing with the fluctuating weight stuff and the digestive bloating stuff. I'm like, oh, see, I just had to get through the 6 months. Everything is great and life will now go on. I was at this point contemplating getting it taken out just because I was no longer in a relationship. I didn't really have a need for it. But then at the same time, I was like, okay, but what if I do get into another relationship at some point in time? I don't want to have to get this reinserted and restart that entire 6-month process over again from the beginning. That was terrible. And then on an even bigger scale, maybe, will I have access to birth control in the future if I get this taken out now? Who fucking knows? No one in this country. That's for damn sure. Did it anyway, though. That's how bad it got. That's how you know it got really fucking bad. Because I got it taken out under the Trump presidency. That's how much I felt miserable. I pushed through. November 2024. 1 year anniversary of the implant. I'd throw myself a party if I wasn't so goddamn miserable. In October is when I started noticing things getting worse again. The gastrointestinal issues were debilitating. one night I was like doubled over in excruciating pain. This was right before I went to the Eras tour, and there were a lot of really stressful things happening, so I did kind of chalk it up to stress because that was the first time that had happened. I didn't know that my body was just doing a test lap on destroying me from the inside out. The bloating is like egregious and should have been a crime. It's hard for me to even describe this time period because all I can say is that it was terrible and honestly a little scary. This was the time in which every single day I was drinking a kombucha because it made me feel like I had even a semblance of control over what was happening to me. When we go to the Eras tour, I don't feel great. I do have a picture on my Instagram of my cousin and my friend and I at the Eras tour. You will never see a full body picture of me from this. Natalie might have them. If she does, this is a threat. Natalie, fucking don't. In December, I went back to my college town in South Carolina to do like a one night only performance of Chapel Roan songs. It was very fun. I had a great time. I sobbed on the floor while I was packing for that trip. And honestly, that was the moment in which I was like, this has got to come out of me. Because it was a combination of everything. I had ordered food because I was trying to pack. It hurt to eat it. Nothing I was putting on looked the way I wanted it to. I had went to one of my close college friends' wedding like a month before that, at the beginning of November. I looked completely different. Maybe I didn't. I felt completely different. I felt like I constantly had a rock sitting in my stomach is what I felt like. The mental feeling of that, it doesn't matter what's happening physically. You're going to feel that physically as well. It would be really dramatic and funny if I wasn't like at my wit's end, but I literally was, this is where it starts to feel a little visceral and like fresh to me because it wasn't that long ago. So I'm like, whenever I'm talking about it and like stuttering over my words, and I apologize. I, of course, wasn't 100% sure that the implant was causing these symptoms. It could have been a number of other things. It just was the main thing that had changed. I also had started spotting again in this same time period. So that's also why I felt like everything was connected. I scheduled a doctor's appointment, like a regular primary care, for the month of January, just so I could go in and get regular stuff done, make sure nothing was out of the ordinary. I talked to her for a while and she was like, it's probably the implant. She said that she had it and she got it taken out. This is common, by the way. That's also why I'm making this, because this is a pretty common thing that happens. And she gave me a referral to her gynecologist, aka my savior. And she was like, it could be something else happening digestively with all the bloating. You're under 35, so like insurance isn't gonna pay for you to do any kind of like screening unless there's concrete proof. So the first thing that you would need to do is let's get that taken out. And then if you still feel that way after a few months after your body is settled, come back and then we'll try to see if things can cover it. And I said, bet. I went, that was just for a yearly that I just needed to be established. I went, no pain. Such a pleasant experience, honestly. Oh my God. I made an appointment, like just a regular office appointment, and it was one where I didn't have to like change clothes and get in the gown and do all the shit and everything. So I went back in a month to that appointment. This is when I started doing kind of a vlog style thing because I knew I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I started just recording my thoughts as they were happening. I am going to switch over to that format for a little bit and we'll come back. I do also need to say that during this part that you're about to see, the day that I got my implant taken out, my fucking car broke down. So there's also that mixed in here because it was all happening at once. Good news is that this is the day that Sunrise on the Reaping was released. So while I was stuck in my car waiting for a tow truck for 3 hours, I read the majority of the book.
Good morning. Today is the day of my doctor's appointment where I say, please take this stick out of me. We're gonna see what happens. My biggest fear is that I will go in and I will say, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. I want this out of me so that I can figure out what's going on and go from there. And she will be like, that's not good enough reason to take it out. That's my biggest fear. If that happens, I think I might lose my mind right there in that office and become a mute and never speak again. And I'm being dramatic, but only a little bit. It's in me anymore. I don't want it. It makes me feel crazy. It makes me feel like I don't know what's gonna happen to me. Like it's super unpredictable when it comes to like, when am I gonna break out? When am I gonna have really bad digestive issues? When am I gonna be so anxious I wanna curl up into a ball? When am I gonna wanna cry my eyes out for 2 days straight? I never know when that's gonna happen. It just all of a sudden appears and then it's happening. And I can't keep doing that. I want to feel normal. As normal as I can. It would be so great and fantastic if when I walked in, they were like, oh, we can take this up for you right now. I don't think that's gonna happen though. So I'm hoping that the day she gives me to come back isn't like so egregiously in the future that I wanna do something drastic. And I would love for them to be like, come on back. Take your shirt off, I'm gonna cut your arm open, and then I'll say thank you so much, I'll see you in a year. And I don't have to do it anymore. Here's the thing. The fuck is that? So that is a spider, and I'm gonna freak out. So that's okay. So that makes me wanna. I need a second. Oh God. How long was that on me? Where did it come from? What was I saying before a spider was attached to me? Ugh. At the end of the day, it is like it's my decision, and I need to remember that because I need to be prepared. I don't know her. I've only gone to her once. She was very nice. I don't know why I'm afraid that she's gonna be like no and say a bunch of stuff to me. I don't know why I'm afraid of that. Really, I just am. I think that I just never know what facet of someone's personality is going to be revealed to me on any given day. I guess there's also like insurance. Like, what is that going to factor in? Like, are they going to be like, yeah, sure, we'll take it out of you. It's going to cost you $1,000. And I have United. So, we all know what they're famous for at this point. Do you think saying that just got me put on like a list somewhere? Maybe. I'm trying to figure out how I can communicate the fact that I want this out more than anything in the world without getting like 5150'd. Like, I want to say, if you don't take this out of me, I'm going to cut it out of my own arm. I won't really do that because I'm afraid of dying or something terrible happening to me. But, like, that's how it feels right now. Like, that's the severity of it to me. Like, take this out of me or I'm going to do it myself. But I also know that if I say that, that probably will land me 5150'd. Nice little vacation of the grippy sock variety. The world isn't made for girlies who speak in metaphors anymore. The lamest thing I've ever said. So I didn't put on any concealer and my dark circles are going crazy. Because it doesn't matter how much I sleep, I'm still tired. Or I can't sleep at all. One of the two. I do feel incredibly bloated and want to scream. So maybe I'll do that instead. Maybe instead I'll just scream at the top of my lungs. I guess this was a get ready with me. It was not. This was I talk very sporadically about a thing that I'm dreading and also a fun visit from a spider friend. That's what this was. I shouldn't have brought that back up.
That went really well. I get to go back this Wednesday, 2 days from now. And they're going to take it out. And then I'm going to have no birth control for a month, which freaks me out, not because I'm not, just because I feel like I don't know. I fear going crazy more than a person should. But on Wednesday, this fucking stick will be out of my arm.
All right, I'm fully at work, but I thought I'd come to you now live from the bathroom that I just crashed out in because the doctor's office just sent me a text message a little bit ago that said that on Wednesday, when I go in to get this removed, I will need to pay them $335. I didn't record myself while I was sobbing, but I have accidentally carried the aftermath with my makeup and mascara on it in my hand for about 20 minutes. I sat in here and I cried for a bit. I planned my finances down to like the minute. Like I know exactly what day I need to pay this, exactly what day I need to pay this, and this was not really a part of that plan. I don't know why I have to pay $300. I guess because I'm not leaving it in for the full amount of time because it makes me want to kill myself. And that's not good enough for United Healthcare. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into it, but I am incredibly lucky that I do have a support system in place where when something like this is happening, I can talk to them. Well, I hate asking like my family, my parents for money. It's the worst thing in the world. I physically recoil. I so rarely do it. But I'm very thankful for my mother. And I don't want to talk about it too much or I will start crying again. Really kind of out of it and coming down from that. So this is not entertaining and I apologize.
I think I wanted to just like talk a little bit more before I do that about the day and how I feel about it and how I feel about United Healthcare. I think that I'm in this weird place where I'm excited that it's coming out, but I am like racked with guilt about the fact that like someone's helping me. I don't like needing help with things. It makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. And I don't want any of that to negate that I'm very thankful and I'm very happy that I have the ability to ask for that help and to get that help. I'm very excited that that help was offered to me, because if not, I would be putting this off for 2 more months and I would go in May when I get an extra paycheck and that would be the time that I get to get this taken out of me. But I've had this for over a year and it is a terrible feeling. And I am so tired of feeling this way. And I felt such like an overwhelming amount of hope when I walked out of the doctor's office this morning. And like that was just like, it's stupid that there's something that they put in me for free. It was free, completely covered by insurance to get this inserted, but it's making me feel terrible in 8 different kinds of ways. And I have to live with it for a year and a half or pay $330. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Even though it's going to be like a 5-minute procedure, all she's going to do is make a tiny incision in my arm and push it out. $300. Cool. And I also don't want anything that I'm saying to sound like I'm being negative towards the doctor that I currently have. I was talking this morning to my doctor now, and she was like, yeah, we find that like, with PCOS, it kind of isn't great to have that. I just think that like when I first brought up wanting to be put on the Nexplanon implant, I'm not a fucking doctor, right? Why didn't someone say, you have PCOS, I think you should stay on something with estrogen in it? Why didn't a medical professional say that to me? Why was it just like, okay, like what? And I think that's part of why I feel frustrated too, because like I could have just avoided all of this. And then I get weird and existential because I think about like the first 6 months that I had this and how that was when it was like really terrible adjustment period. And I could have just avoided all of that. Was I even myself during that time? Am I myself now? Like, what am I going to be like after Wednesday when I don't have it anymore? TLDR, bottom line. It's such a relief to know that it's going to be gone in a couple days. But it's also bringing up a lot of brand new things for me that I now have to figure out how I feel. And I don't know how I feel. Paramore shirt. Saw them when they were in Atlanta the other year. Is that 2023. Saw them. Okay, bye. A couple more things real quick. Did you know that they give progesterone to cancer patients when they're trying to get them to eat food. Did you know that? Did you know that? Because they do. They do. And then they were like, okay, so this is the thing that we just like give women. Let's like not really ever investigate that more and see if we can think of like a different alternative. Like let's just stay there. That's the best that's not the best you can do. I guarantee you that's probably not the best that they can do.
Today's the day. I'm leaving work. I put my makeup on with my phone camera in my office. It's not my office. I share it a couple minutes ago, so don't look at me too hard. I'm about to drive to my doctor's office, which is only like 20 minutes, but it could get worse, so I'm leaving early, and I want to be able to I don't want to feel rushed. Here's what I know it's gonna be, right? I'm wearing like a long line shirt, like sports bra underneath this. That way I can take this off when I'm gonna have to. It's in my right arm. It's under my bicep. And she said it's gonna take like 5 minutes. She's gonna make an incision. And then she's basically gonna have to like mess around a little bit until it comes out. She said it takes longer than it takes to put it in. And all in all, I'm just nervous about it. I am. I'm a little bit nervous. It's like fine. It's like fine. It's one of those things where it's like I don't really want to do this, but I know that in order to have what I want, it has to happen. If I ever want to feel like a fucking person again, I have to go get this taken out of me, whatever that may entail. And what it entails is an incision in my arm, and rooting around in there for a couple minutes, and a lidocaine shot that I'm not looking forward to because I think it's gonna burn like a bitch. I'm nervous. It's fine. It's not. I just got here. Here's what I'm trying to do with myself. Deal with it. I've tried to put my phone 5 different places. The sun's out. I've got more important things on my mind. Trying to figure out what stresses me out. Okay, so first of all, I don't really remember what they did the first time. Like I do remember, you know, they put lidocaine in my arm and they numbed me up, but I don't remember what that felt like. And nothing happened the first time, but I feel like I was a person with a much stronger mental fortitude then. Partly because of the stick they put in my arm. I feel not as like, I'm gonna just go in and do it. I don't feel that way as much, which is why I know the stick's a problem. I feel weepy, and I need to fucking cut that out. That shit has to go right now. I cannot walk in there like that. I don't want to make a fool out of myself, but who cares? Who cares? Okay, I'm just gonna keep voicing my fears. I'm afraid it's gonna hurt really bad. I'm afraid I'm gonna feel the sensation of her like after she like makes the incision of her like moving around. I'm afraid I'm gonna feel that. I don't really want to feel that. I'm not in a headspace to receive information that might hurt me. But just like the thought of going in there is very like debilitating. And also my air is not working again. Please. No. Nothing. I'm about to turn on a personality that is not my own right now. Like, it's gonna be me, but it's gonna be the version of me that I'm not at this moment in time. I'm going now. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm like doing all this hemming and hawing and I'm making a big deal out of this, but then like this is gonna just like, I'm gonna get back in this car and be like, it's out, everything's so good and fine, and everything went great, and nothing bad happened at all. That's what's gonna happen. I'm in here. I'm waiting. Oh fucking God, this is... Say goodbye. I lived, bitch. Pretty much painless. There's some dried blood on my arm. Didn't know that was there. Have to leave this wrap on for 24 hours, and then there's like it's not stitches, but it's like the little like almost like fabric-y stitch type things. Have to leave those on for 48 hours. Wasn't expecting that. Wanted to shower tomorrow morning. Listen, when she was trying to get that out of me, by the time we were reaching the end of it, it was starting to hurt a bit. I was feeling it a little bit. I cannot lie. I felt it a little bit. But it's out of me. Oh my God, it's out of me. I never have to do that again in my fucking life. I never have to do that again. I'm gonna be unstoppable. That's probably not true. Now I get to worry about having a crash out from my hormones getting weird. I'm gonna go get myself a treat because I was so brave. I went to Sonic. You know what's really funny? The universe just knows whenever there's been a big shift in your life, because, you know, like 5 minutes after I got this stick taken out of me, a man did the V and the tongue thing at me. I'm not doing it, but you know what I'm talking about. He did that at me at a red light. Men are a disease. I'm gonna enjoy my Sonic. Bye.
A fun update. I finished my mozzarella sticks. I looked down, I said, oh, my check engine light is on, that's weird, I need to get that looked at soon probably. And then my car started smoking when I put it in reverse. So, I'm here in the Sonic parking lot, waiting for a tow truck, estimated 44 minutes, doubt, but, the universe needed to humble me. I'm actually like very much like staving off a crash out right now. I don't know how I'm actually like not sobbing yet, but I feel it starting to creep into the corners of my mind. Because my parents just helped me pay for this. And now this is happening. And I think it's maybe just the coolant, but I'm not sure. Okay, I'm gonna go. But that's... Okay, I'm gonna go.
I just got home. It's 9 p.m. My car started smoking at like 5:30. They got there at like 8:30, and my wonderful, wonderful friends, Jennifer and Alex, just brought me home. And now I don't have a car, but I have to work at 8 a.m. So I guess I'm Ubering. This has become a video about not Nexplanon. I didn't fully freak out in the time that I was away from you. I thought I was going to. We'll see how my emotions hold up in the next few days. I'm a little nervous about that. She did already send a... I guess we're just talking about the next one on again. I don't know what else I can do about the other thing at this point, and that's also not what this is supposed to be about. She already sent my prescription, and she told me to go ahead and pick it up and just kind of wait. And the day I start my cycle, that's when I should start the new pack of pills, or else I'll have weird breakthrough bleeding for 2 to 3 months, she said. So now I just gotta wait around to start bleeding. I can't take a shower, which really sucks because I did just sit in my hot car for 2.5 hours. That really sucks. Holy shit. Oh, also my arm definitely started swelling. Hope that goes down.
Morning. So I guess I should start with the actual thing of what this video is supposed to be about mainly, which is the Nexplanon thing. It hurts. I have a really bad headache, which could be from a myriad of things, but also like my arm does kind of, my shoulder sore, I think from how I was trying to sleep but not hit it, but it does kind of like feel like it's pulling, and it hurts some today. The mechanic called me this morning and said that they have 42 cars right now, so it will be tomorrow or maybe even Monday before they have a chance to look at it. What I don't recommend, here's what I don't recommend to you. I don't recommend that anyone get their Nexplanon implant taken out and then immediately have their car break down an hour after the appointment, because the next day when you're dealing with the fallout, it's going to send you into a spiral and you're going to hyperventilate on the ground in the bathroom. The video has become something entirely what I didn't think it would become. That wasn't a fucking whatever. I feel like shit mentally and physically. This is a terrible combination of events to be happening. Do not recommend. That's the summary. Have a great day. Hi. editing me. Hate editing. I'm realizing I didn't really wrap up this car situation, so I did just want to say it ended up being fine. It was very expensive to fix my car. It was like $1,600, but I got paid right when they got it fixed, and I also got a surprise bonus I wasn't expecting. I didn't know was happening until like 2 days before from my job. So everything ended up being okay in that regard. I did just want to say really quickly a couple things I noticed while I was going through this vlog portion of clips. First of all, I feel like I look in general much less puffy and like inflamed in my face. Something else that was happening that I didn't mention that I noticed was that when I got it taken out for a few days afterward, my joints were popping like crazy, like an insane amount. It was almost like my body was genuinely super inflamed and I was losing all of that. And my joints were like, oh my God, back where we're supposed to be. I also felt stronger again. I felt really weak the entirety of the time that I had it in. The other thing is, oh my God, like the texture of my hair. Some of those were like my first wash day. It just took the curl out of places of my hair, and I feel like it's returning back to normal now. And it was so oily all the time at that point. I feel like you can tell in those clips how oily my hair was. Now it's honestly a little dry because I'm trying to equilibrium. That's all I wanted to say. Now we can continue.
And now we're here. Today is May 24th. So it has been 2-ish months since I had the implant taken out. And I am so glad that I did. I got my period almost exactly a month after I had gotten it taken out. I really thought it would take longer than that. And I started taking the pill. I think I'm still adjusting a little bit. Whenever I start a new pack, I don't really have a strong appetite. I've only done it twice though, so I don't really think it's something that's gonna like stick around long term, and it's not debilitating or anything. I honestly have too much energy. I didn't really realize it until it was out of me. I was a bit of a shell of myself, which sounds dramatic and probably is a little bit, but I could sleep for 12 hours and wake up exhausted no matter what I did. It was this like chronic fatigue that started in December and went all the way through until March. Honestly, now, today, if I wake up and I didn't sleep super well and I feel a little tired for a few seconds, I'm like, no, please, not again. Like, it genuinely probably will have a bit of a long-term effect on me. I'm very afraid of that happening again. I don't think I've fully come to terms with all of that because I don't know. I don't have the proper words yet to describe the feeling of what it's like when it feels like you realize that maybe for at least a few months, probably longer, about a third of your personality was just like completely dampened. Not fun. Not a good feeling. And I don't like that it's all so foggy. I have right now a really bad mold situation happening in my apartment. There's 1,000 gnats in here. You've probably seen them crawling on my stuff throughout this, and you think I'm disgusting. They know about it. When I finally discovered there was mold, it was not long after I got the implant taken out, and I think it had been happening for a bit. And I made a joke to my best friend where I was like, part of me wishes I still had that so that I could not be where this is happening, because this is low-key really making everything super difficult right now. This had to have been happening, and that just is to me a little bit of a testament of where I was mentally, i.e. not here. Right before I got it taken out, I remember that I was at one of my friends, I was at my friend Caroline's house, and I was like, I feel like I am a prisoner in my own body. We went to see JoJo Dancer Your Life is Calling that day. It was a great movie. Given my headspace, hit pretty hard. And then we went to get pizza, and a couple of our other friends met us. And I was sitting at that table. I was sitting at that table, but like, was I sitting at that table? You know, I was just like falling down like deeper and deeper into just like, genuinely, I was essentially dissociating at dinner. Like, I was sitting there and it felt like I was watching a conversation from outside of myself, and they would be saying things and I would be like, you need to laugh at that. It was funny. Hey, nod so that you're nod so that no, hey, can you make sure that you should respond right now. Like, that's genuinely what was happening to me, and that was I wish I could describe it better. I really wish I could. I am able to get up at like 5 to 6 a.m. now. I was like perpetually late to work there for a little bit, and I am very thankful that no one called me on it, because I probably would have had a breakdown. I think that part of it that is so upsetting is that I love being funny and witty, and I feel like I lost that part of myself a little bit. My best friend said that I was still that way. I think I just don't remember it, and I love the feeling that comes along with being like, that was good. And I never got to experience that for those few months, and I just felt kind of like dull and dumb, like, and that's just so not me. And it did a number, you know? That part I have not fully processed, but I knew before I just popped back up a year and a half later and started talking about fucking catching fire, I needed to talk about this. I wanted you to know what's been going on, and I don't know if you can relate. If you can, I'm sorry. If you have Nexplanon and you love it, I am genuinely happy for you. I love the pill, and a lot of people hate that. So I have tried to parse this down, believe it or not, and not go into too many super specific anecdotes. But I'm not opposed to doing that. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's just my name. It's very easy to get an Instagram handle that's just your name when your last name is Tesnier. Right now, the only people that follow me are people that I have known for most of my life. I do not want to just get on my Instagram and start speaking to a wall like an influencer, or they're going to try to have me committed. So my way of gauging interest in this, if people are watching this, is if I see that people are following me on Instagram, I will know that y'all would like me to post a Q&A.
Editing me again. Hi. Still hate editing. I've realized that at some point I cut the beginning of what I'm about to say out. I mentioned that I did a performance in December of 2024 in my old college town. I'm doing that again in June on the 20th and 21st. What I'm about to tell you about is that event. That thing that I did last December was like a very bright spot and a very dark time, so I'm very excited to be working with everyone at Just a Girl Productions again. And now I'm going to tell you about that, and this is the last time you're going to hear from me at midnight at my parents' house. Goodbye.
It is a night of power pop girls music, so it's gonna be Chapel, Charlie, and Sabrina. If you are in this upstate South Carolina area, I will put the link to buy tickets to that in the description. Live performers, live band. There is a free DJ set afterwards. There will be drinks for sale. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be at the Market Theater in Anderson, South Carolina. If you are interested in that, you should come. I think that's everything. If you have stuck around for this whole thing, I want to say thank you very much. If you are coming back with me from my unintended 1.5-year hiatus, and you are watching this because you subscribed to me when I made the Hunger Games video, thank you for watching this. I really appreciate it. You will be seeing Catching Fire within the next 2 weeks. I grimaced, but I mean that sincerely. It does take a bit of time. Thank you so much for watching. I really genuinely do appreciate it. I am very happy to be back. I've always loved doing stuff like this, and I am excited to feel a renewed sense of passion for it, simply because now I know what it's like to have none of it, and it's scary, and I never want to experience it again. Have a good one. I'll talk to y'all later. When I look back through this to edit it all together, it's going to be a lot of me staring off into space, trying to make my thoughts make sense, and then me speaking for 20 seconds, and then I'm going to hear myself, and I'm going to be like, I didn't even fucking like what I just said.